Welcome back to the Full Court Press podcast. I'm your host Brian Joyner, joined by Ben. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good, man. We're brewing up a good episode today, so had to wear the Brewers hat. Support
Yeah,
all my Milwaukee
like
friends.
the mini Milwaukeeans. Is that what you call
I don't know. I'm not actually a
them? Who
fan.
knows?
Just
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we got a good show today. I think we're gonna go over a redraft or kind of look over the rookie class and see who's disappointed, who's surprised us. One person has definitely surprised me from my first take.
Wonder who
Uh,
that is.
yeah. And then after that, we'll get into some award debates and kind of look back at past odds and look at how it's changed over the time, and then make our own predictions on who we think will win. But let's get on. Let's get to it. So we can kind of just go through. I'll list the top 10, and we'll see. You'll give some takes, and we'll kind of go from there. Top 10. This rookie class is Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe, Conkin Nipple, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, Jeremy Fears, Igor Dimon, Colin Murray Boyles, and then Malawach to the Suns.
Yeah.
I mean, quite a few of those guys I think are going to fall out. But anybody off the top of off the top there that you would definitely drop?
Yeah, and I think we'll kind of hit it from two angles. One, who's kind of more the supreme talent, and then two, maybe best fit for the team looking back as well. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, but kind of have both angles on that. But yeah, I think just first glance, I don't think Malawach has even played more than 10 minutes this year, something like that, which, obviously the Suns
Yeah.
have quite a few centers that they've been cycling through, but that's a little bit surprising. So I could see him dropping out. And then, honestly, probably Joman. He hasn't been particularly great. He's had some flashes of three-point shooting, and it's just hard to tell with the Nets what their plan is of anything moving forward. So I feel like his draft stock at 8 is, maybe talent-wise is appropriate, but for their long-term plans, I could see some other people that have kind of stood out so far this year. Any others than that you would take out immediately?
No, Malawach was a big one. I thought at the time that Phoenix it was a good pick for them. They needed bigs, and then they made some moves, bringing in Mark Williams and stuff, which just pushed him down the bench because they're the same player, pretty
Yep.
much. Like Malawach doesn't bring anything that Williams, lacks. So that after that, I was like, well, they're probably just going to sit him for a while. But who knows? He's been playing good in the G League from what I understand. When he plays down there, so maybe he's a more developmental kind of take over for Williams at a certain point, but we'll have to see. But mine is, I think Ace Bailey drops a little bit here. Like he's just super inefficient. Which coming into the draft, everybody talked about the fact that he's just this tough shot maker, and they lied about his height. But even then, like he made tough shots in college in the mid range and stuff. And NBA is just a different game, so he's just not making those tough shots that he was making in college. And so I think he drops. I don't know that far because potential wise he's still pretty good. Like I probably take Fears over him now, just the way he's been playing. Kind of running that offense for New Orleans. And yeah, Dioman has been playing better lately. But yeah, he started off rocky. But the Nets taking 5 people in the first round in this draft.
Yeah.
They were just taking in the best player available, I guess. It was like, and so at that point in time, Dioman was considered the best player available.
Yeah. Yeah, first off, White Lightning's not going to be happy with you and your Ace Bailey take again, but I don't necessarily disagree.
It's okay.
Obviously he's getting a little bit more run now as the Jazz are full-on tanking, so we'll get to see a little bit clearer picture of maybe what he's capable of in the last couple weeks. But yeah, so far not super impressive with what he's had, so hopefully we'll see a more developed player towards the end of the year here.
Yeah, hopefully so. So let's go to the top 3 guys. Are you moving anybody in or out?
Well, I don't think I'd move Cooper. I think obviously probably the top talent still in the draft, and as far as the Mavs need, like they needed a franchise player, and he's probably the only
Yeah.
franchise player in this draft. Obviously, there's more talented guys in there too, but I think as far as what they needed and the most complete player available, I wouldn't move it. And yeah, he's dealt with a few injuries here and there. That's kind of hampered some of that production that he was really cooking there for a couple weeks. That were like, okay, the rest of the year he's going to be top 10, top 20 player, but he still might get back to it the last couple weeks here. But I think overall, he should win probably Rookie of the Year with his overall body of work, assuming the last 3 or 4 weeks are healthy. But I think a case for Con Knippel as Rookie of the Year is ever growing, and I may end up moving Knippel up into the top three.
Yeah.
But kind of depends on the team's need. Looking at 2 and 3, do you think either the Spurs, do you think they should have taken him at 2?
I think the Spurs should have taken Colin Knippel at 2. I mean, Dylan Harper at the time, I mean, he's a great prospect, but if we're going to talk about like fit for a team, they already had Fox, they had Castle. I mean, they have Vassell, like they have creators. They didn't need another point guard. They just took best player available because they just got, I mean, just like Dallas, they got lucky and jumped 8 spots or whatever they did. And so you take best player available and you make it work later down the road. And he's a good player. I mean, he's a dang good player. But if the Spurs could go back, they need shooting. Pretty desperate. And so at least they shoot the ball, don't get me wrong, but they need efficient shooting. And Colin Knippel is probably considered one of the best rookie seasons from a shooter ever. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's leading the league in 3 points made right now with like over 230, I think, at this point. And so he's been very impressive. And we'll get to Rookie of the Year stuff later, but he's really knocking on the door. He's actually the favorite right now on FanDuel. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if that holds, because I think it's just bias that Cooper Flag's missed the last 2-3 weeks. So
Yeah.
we'll see when he gets back. But yeah, so kind of covering that, and then VJ. I think VJ is a perfect fit for what Philadelphia's doing. I think he fits right next to Maxey really well as a point of attack defender, rim runner, kind of slasher type. His shooting needs to get better, but I think he fits the Philadelphia culture really well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they stay there.
Well, I mean, do you think that, and this is kind of what I was thinking as I watched the draft, and I wasn't surprised that VJ went third, but I bet that they were deciding between Con and VJ at 3, pretty back and forth of like, hey, do we want more pure shooting, or do we want somebody that's probably a little bit more development in progress? He's going to be a 3-and-D guy. Maybe he'll end up being a more all-around player than Con will be, but I kind of was surprised they took VJ over Con, but at the same time, having watched him at Baylor, I was like, yeah, he is a great fit for what they want to do. So would you, as a GM, switch to Con now?
I mean, right now, yeah, I probably would too. Just because, but at the time, you can't. I mean, you knew going out of school he was a knockdown shooter.
Yeah.
But Con's defense has been really impressive. His off the dribble scoring has been really impressive. So I don't think people really predicted that, but they did from VJ. VJ was very much like athletically way above almost anybody. I mean, I put Cooper a little bit below him, I guess, just pure athleticism. But they're really close anyway. But I think if you can go back now, Con Knippel is probably second. If he's not second, he's third, because you just couldn't predict his anything outside of just stand and shoot type stuff. And looking at his frame and his foot speed and stuff like that, I can understand why he would slip a little bit below those two guys.
Yeah, I think thinking about the Spurs too at 2, where Harper's they were probably fine with giving him a year or 2 to develop, considering their current roster construction. And then, obviously anybody would love to have a shooter like Con on their team, but as far as long-term play, working around Wemby, working around Fox, some of the other guards that they have, maybe they thought over time Harper will continue to develop as a scorer. They won't need him to be more of a point guard role. He's a little bit taller. I don't know if that's what was going through their head. I generally trust San Antonio's developmental, process with the people that they've been able to turn out that they've drafted, but I don't know if they
For sure.
now in hindsight do they really want shooting. Obviously, they're kind of relying on guys like Champagny and Vassell and a couple of their bench guys mostly for 3-point shooting. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, my thoughts on that is, it's so hard because we look at this now and we go, but at the time, Con Knipple going fourth was like, whoa, like
Yeah,
we couldn't believe it. People couldn't believe that Charlotte would take Con Knipple over Ace Bailey, Fears, Johnson. I mean, he was probably projected going like eighth or ninth in the draft. I don't know, like he was almost 10th. So
yeah,
it's like
maybe seventh at best.
at best seventh. I definitely thought at the time I didn't think he was going to go over Ace Bailey or Trey Johnson. I mean, Trey Johnson was coming out. He was a flamethrower from three, highlight scorer. So I thought, well, for sure, Trey Johnson, who is just like a more athletic, better off the dribble Conca. So I was like, well, but turns out that he's not. So he's kind of a guy that I don't know if he goes where he goes because he's pretty inefficient really overall. So he's shooting 30. What is that? Oh, I guess he's shooting 36% from three, which is not bad, but
Yeah,
just
not
I don't know.
horrible.
On a bad Wizards team, you would expect him to get some opportunity, and they're just not really like going to him.
Yeah, it could be a picture of what the team's problems are more so than him, but definitely a little bit underwhelming on his first campaign so far. So I think we're relatively consensus that the top four are, in any particular order, but generally they mostly got it right. We may switch out Harper for Con or VJ there, but the fits generally they got what they're looking for.
No, absolutely. Going 5 to 10, I guess you have. I mean, does Bailey drop
Well, Bailey's interesting to
below any of
me.
these guys?
I think at 5, they. I don't know if there was anyone else they really wanted at 5. If they were expecting Con to drop to 5, probably they were, but they pretty much had
Yeah, probably so.
their poise or their choice of anyone else. Obviously, they probably knew the top 3 were going relatively in that order. So I don't think there's necessarily anybody else they wanted other than maybe Con.
Yeah,
I don't think they, at the time, they've made some moves since, but they probably just picked Bailey because of his long-term potential. I mean, I think he probably has more potential than Trey Johnson and some of the other guys at the end of the top 10 that it's not really the best fit for them currently. Maybe we'll see in the next 4 weeks how he can kind of fit with some of the players, but with their, constant juggling of Nurkic and Markkanen and Keontae in and out, it's just kind of been, how does Bailey fit into this lineup? What are we really constructing moving forward? And now they've made some big trades to where they have a bit more of a plan, and I think he could potentially fit as the small forward in some of those long-term plans.
no, I think so too. I think they take Bailey again in this. I just think that you're not taking any guards. I think they knew that Keontae George had taken the step. He showed it kind of at the end of last year, and this year he's just taken off. So you don't want to get a competing guard in there, even though later on they trade for, or I guess later on this season they trade for Walton, or Clayton Jr. But
Well, they
he's
traded him away.
no, they acquired him.
No, he went to Memphis.
Oh, did he go to Memphis? Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they end up anyway. He ends up on the team, but it's just like a clear backup situation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they take Fears, then you have like this battle between who's going to be the starting point guard. They just wanted to give the keys to Keontae and go. So I think they stay off the guard instead, and the best potential is Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
And they knew they were going to be bad this year. I think that was it too. Like they know they're going to be bad, so they want to be bad at this year, and so they're like, "Hey, we'll take Bailey. We'll bet on year 2 leap, and go from there."
Yeah. Which I think is probably one of their only smart moves that they've made this year is drafting him where they did and just kind of committing to long-term development with him. Because, I mean, other than some of the trades, maybe you could argue now that they've made, but that's about what they could do at the time with the draft.
Exactly. So, in the later part of this, I mean, Fears probably jumps up. I like Fears over like Trey Johnson, maybe. I think he probably Washington would like a guard. I mean, they go and trade for Trey Young, which fears is not shooting wise, but the same. But they kind of play similarly. They're very just fast, playmaker type guys, and so I imagine that they take Fears over Johnson. But later on, it's like Dioman, Murray Boyles, and Malawach, which I'm imagining that Phoenix takes somebody other than Malawach, which they're probably taking. Who knows? Queen maybe jumps up in the top 10. That's kind of who I was like. I was very down on at the beginning of the year, but his versatility is undeniable. Really, like I didn't think that he would come in. I mean, I knew he was a below the rim. He knew he had finesse, but I just didn't expect his, I guess, IQ of the game to be so high. Like it really is. It's really good. Really fun to watch.
Man, that's the nicest things you've said about him all year.
Yeah, yeah. There it
That's
is.
that feel coming out of your mouth.
It makes me sick.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know long term. The Wizards' plan is still, obviously it's changed so much over the past several years, but especially even within this year, going out getting AD and Trey, and I thought they were probably going to build around Sarr, have him as their big man. They really need a guard. Obviously, McCollum wasn't going to be the long term answer, so Trey Johnson made sense at the time, a scoring guard that they can really just let kind of roll out there and shoot as much as he wants, not worry so much about wins. But, in hindsight, now that they've got Trey and AD, is there a better fit that goes along with those guys that you would have drafted? I feel like it's probably not Queen just because of having Star and AD, but
It's probably said Coward.
yeah,
If it were me, like I would probably have taken Coward because he just was NBA ready body wise, and so I think he fits long term there. Looking back now, you don't know that AD is going to be traded to you. You don't know that you're going to be able to get a steal in Trey Young to come to your team.
Right.
So it's hard to predict that. But if you knew the future, yeah, you're probably taking somebody. I mean, maybe you're even taking Carter Bryant
right.
to get
That
that
was my
just
other
solid
thought.
defensive guy that's just, I mean, he's a stud defensively. He's going to be awesome in a couple of years when he finally can knock down a three. I mean, he's going to be great for obviously San Antonio now, but like for any of these teams that could have got him.
Yeah. I think they decided, hey, we're going guard because we need a guard long term. Trey Johnson was probably the best guard available there. They could have gone Fears and they could have gone maybe Walter Clayton, who went later on. But beyond those two guys, I feel like, Trey was probably the most developed scorer. That's what they wanted. They didn't want a passer as much as Fears is. So to me, it kind of made sense. I wouldn't necessarily have changed the pick. With hindsight now, I would, but, at the time, probably their right move.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree. We're not going to go through every single pick, all 30 or 60 picks, but anybody after the lottery or kind of towards the end of the lottery and into the second round that you see should have been in the first round or potentially lottery pick?
Having watched a little bit, I'd say Traore might have gone a little bit higher. I've been relatively impressed with him. He still needs to be a better shooter, but as a playmaker, he's been pretty impressive. I'm glad that the Nets are kind of giving him a little bit more opportunity lately, a little bit more than Joman. I think he's probably a better long-term prospect for them. Yakuchonis has gotten a little bit of playtime with the Heat.
Yeah.
Not overall, not that impressed, but kind of what we expected from him. I think he's a good role player that can kind of be a sixth or seventh man, best case moving forward. But I don't know. Everyone else kind of has their own flaws, so it's hard to say like, man, they really should have grabbed this guy, here instead of where they did. But there's definitely a lot of potential talent. I like Will Riley. He just is terrible defensively, so that kind of limits him, and he's relatively inefficient at times. I like Nate Clifford too, but he's kind of a similar mold. He's a very good defender, but offensively,
he's older. That was the whole thing
challenged.
with him is that he was like, Yeah, I think the whole thing with Neat Clifford was that he was a full 4 years or something.
Yeah,
So people didn't want to take a 24 or 5 year old when, especially if you're taking these bad teams or looking for potential.
hmm
But I mean, he's a solid guard for the Kings, but it's hard because the Kings suck. So he's getting a lot of playing time, and so
right.
it's just like, are these numbers because who else is going to put up the numbers there, or is it because he's actually a solid guard? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So overall, not the most impressive draft class that we've seen, but definitely a lot of players that we'd like to see more opportunity for before we kind of give a full assessment on. But I don't think there's anybody that was a huge miss on some of these teams' part.
I I thought that Kalkbrenner shouldn't have been second round. I
Hmm.
think again you had a guy who was 4 years at Creighton, so people don't really think he has much room to grow, but still he's coming to the NBA. He's a solid shot blocker. He's a 75% from the field, so he's super efficient. He's not going to blow you away. He's not going to average 10, 12, 15 points a game or anything like that, but he's
hmm
solid around the rim. He's a good screener, good rebounder. So I think right now he's averaging 8 and 6. So it's pretty good for a
Yeah,
34th pick in the draft. I mean, I don't know.
yeah,
On
backup center. It's
Yeah,
useful.
on 23. Oh wait, was this 22 minutes a game?
Yeah,
It's pretty good. I don't know.
yeah. I think they knew that they needed a backup center, and in the second round, you're just trying to pick people that are going to produce for you at some level. So I feel
Yep.
like that was definitely a good pick on their part. There's no one after him that I'm seeing, at least for Charlotte's construction, they definitely needed a big,
Yeah.
and none of the bigs after him. Maybe Raynaud, but again, a
Yeah.
lot of
Right
that's
now. Yeah.
just been opportunity, and with Kalkbrenner kind of splitting minutes with Diabate and some of the other guys they had previously, I think that was probably their best pick at the time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think the only other name that kind of sticks out a little bit is I was really hopeful that he would go undrafted so Dallas could pick him up off the whatever. But Tyrese Proctor, I liked him
Mm-hmm.
out of Duke. I think he's a solid defender. Could kind of create a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
he's playing pretty good in Cleveland right now. So I'm uh I'm high. I mean, I say pretty good. He's fourth string point guard or what, two guard or something like that. So like as good as that guy can be for you,
Yeah,
he's solid. Um, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, one other guy I think that maybe in time will develop is Diawara on the Knicks. He's been getting a
yeah,
little bit more opportunity now, which who knows next year what their roster will look like. But I feel like he has more of an all around game than some of these guys. They're kind of missing something. They're bad at defense. They're bad at shooting. This and that. But I feel like he's relatively all around and could be definitely a productive for the Knicks if he gets more of a full time role next year. Maybe second or third off the bench, but um, he has potential for a second round pick. That's kind of what you're looking for.
yeah, yeah. I guess another surprise. Well, I wish he would have played this year. Is Thomas Sorber
Yeah,
from Georgetown? Got drafted 15 for OKC. I thought he was going to be like awesome
yeah,
for them, and,
oh yeah,
and maybe potentially give them an opportunity to trade or in the offseason get rid of Hardenstein off of his 30 million that they paid him.
hmm
But I just I wish he could have played. Obviously, he tore his ACL. Like, what are you going to do? But
yeah,
I thought he would have been a perfect fit for them.
yeah. I agree. I was pretty excited about him, and I think especially with Hartenstein being injured quite a bit
Yeah,
this year, and they've kind of staggered minutes with Chet too. Like, would have been a perfect developmental year when obviously they're still running the league the way they are, and just to
right.
get him 15, 20 minutes in games here and there, and even 25 minutes in games where one of those two guys is going to sit. And I do think, like you said, long term, Hartenstein's probably on the way out at some level. They won't be able to
They
maximize
can't
all of
afford
the
him.
guys. Yeah. So I think it was kind of a year ahead pick, knowing that his ACL
Yeah,
was
for
was
sure.
gone. But yeah, I'm very excited for him next year. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think he would have. I mean, he would have just taken Jalen, not J Dub, but Jalen Williams, big Jalen Williams. I think he would have
Hmm.
just taken his minutes for sure, and he plays a lot, so
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I think that's a good overlook, or of how that draft went, where we think teams would have gone if they could go back in time. I don't think, like you talked about, there's no way Dallas doesn't take Cooper Flag still. I
Yeah.
think he was overall best potential, best talent for what they needed. They needed they didn't need a shooter that can't create. They needed somebody who can create offense for them. And
Hmm.
so he was the only guy like right out, maybe him and Harper, but he was the only guy right out of college that was going to be like, yeah, you can create your own offense kind of thing. But
Yeah.
that's just me trying to get a little Dallas talk in there. But
Yeah. No,
um,
overall, people did relatively what I thought they would, and wouldn't change too much moving forward. But I think next year will be a really interesting exercise to do something like this, because there's a lot
yeah.
of speculation on where people should go and how deep it is, to where we could be having some pretty good arguments next year.
Oh, I think it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be great because Dallas is in a spot where they're going to have. They could, if they end up right now, they're going to end up having like 3 or 4 of these point guards on the board, and it's
Hmm.
going to be a fight on Twitter about who they should take.
Well, I think as part of the continued conspiracy, the Mavericks are going to get the number one pick again this year.
You think it was a
And
2 year deal?
I do, yeah, I do. 2-year deal with the Devil.
That'd be
And,
great. That'd be
that
great.
would
Are
be
you
great.
taking? I'll say this just to. I don't know how much you looked into it. Are you taking Peterson number one?
No, I'm not taking Peterson.
No.
No, I think it's got to
Who
be.
you taking?
I think I'm taking Boozer.
Oh, Boozer. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think I'm taking DeBonsa for sure.
I don't know. I mean, he could score, but I don't know. I think Boozer has potential to be, especially playing with Cooper. I feel like they could be a little bit more dangerous than somebody like DeBonsa, who wants to create his own.
Yeah, I just think that okay, if Dallas has this pick, let's just say there's no way they don't take Peterson. They need a point guard so badly. They need somebody to create offense so badly. And I know they're getting Kyrie back, but wouldn't it be awesome to have Kyrie and Peterson who right next to each other with Cooper Flag and anyway? But I think that I like Boozer. I think any of these three that you get is a home run. But I just think Boozer has the lowest ceiling of these three. So.
Potentially, yeah.
But I find
it'll be a fun debate.
I find that Peterson's attitude towards like playing, and he's already come out and said that he wants to go to a team that he's going to be the number one superstar, like face of the franchise. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not even out of college yet. You're already trying to make these demands and stuff. Like I don't know, like he has soft tissue injuries, so he's just playing like 18 minutes, like jogging up and down the floor. And yeah, and in the 18 minutes that he's playing, he's scoring like 24 or 5 a game. So like that's crazy. But
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with a prima donna who's not even in the in the league yet.
That's kind of how I feel too, and why he's dropped to 2 or 3 for me. To where if I had the one, I wouldn't really want to gravitate towards him. I get, obviously, he's probably arguably the most talented, or at least the best scorer, other than maybe DeBonsa. But I send him to Utah. They need another one of those guys.
Yeah, him and Ace Bailey can kick it back and talk about how much they hate being there.
Exactly. I'd love to see that.
That'd be great. That'd be great. But anyway, yeah, we can kind of go on to our next segment. We can talk about the award races going into the last part of the season. I went on to the betting site FanDuel and tried to look at the odds, see what's going on. We did a show earlier this year where we talked about it a little bit, and at the time, and I thought it was interesting to point out these how the lists have changed from then
Yeah.
till now, and so we can kind of go over that plus who we think could take it over. We'll make our picks this time. I don't think last time we made picks. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I don't think last time Kalshi was a thing either, right?
no, Kalshi wasn't a thing, which is why I guess Giannis got kicked out of these this list. Yeah, but so let's start with MVP. So we have at the time when we did this, I want to say it was probably like November, maybe
It was
somewhere around there.
our 9th episode, so that would have been, we started in like late September, so it was probably early November or something like that. I could
Yeah, so
find out, but a while
Something
ago.
like that. We'll just go with that. So it was at the time it was Jokic, Shea, Luka, Giannis, Maxi. But now on FanDuel, it's Shea at minus 320,
Hmm.
and then you have Jokic at plus 600, which is close enough, and then you have Cade, Wembanyama, Brown, Luka at like plus 1,000, plus 1,500 and above.
Yeah.
So they really don't really see them doing it. But um, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like the list a lot more now. I feel like it's representative. I mean, obviously Jokic missing a month really set him back from being the favorite. I think statistically he's probably still the favorite as far as his numbers, but Shea leading his team the way he has, he's probably going to be the front runner moving forward. And he's missed a couple games here and there too, the last 2 weeks, and he's still kind of dealing with that core injury. But I think they're probably the top two pretty comfortably. Cade's making a push just because the Pistons are number one in the East, and they're kind of a big surprise story this year, even from last year. And I don't Jaylen Brown. I don't know if I would really see him. He's fourth. I don't know if I'm
Fifth.
fifth. Okay.
Yeah, Wimby's above him.
Yeah, I'm good with that then. I mean, obviously Jalen's having a great year, and they weren't really expected to do as much as they've done without Tatum. To me, he's more or less doing what he's done in the past, just a couple ticks up in certain categories and kind of carrying the team. But I don't know. As far as most valuable player, I think the other four probably would put Luka above him too.
Yeah,
But I could put Jaylen Brown sixth.
I think they have Luka on here for stats wise, but the team is not win. I mean, they are winning. They have a winning record or anything, but they're not like. I mean, they're not like Oklahoma City or kind of what Denver is. But I think I'm curious to see how, I guess voters look at this stretch where Jokic was out and Denver slid bad. Like they were like third in the West, and now they're sixth.
Yeah.
He's come back and kind of won a few games, so they're kind of moving up. But Shea goes out for 11 games or something like that, and they are fine. They never really skipped a beat. They went in beating people by a lot. So I'm curious to see if voters will look at that and be like, well, maybe Jokic is that crucial to his team, which we know he is.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to point out that you can't, if you miss 18 games in a season, you're not eligible.
Right.
And Jokic is sitting at 16, Wemby's sitting at 14, and Shea's at 11.
Wow.
Which I don't think Shea gets there. Because I think he's overall a pretty healthy guy, and I think that he might be playing through a little something because of it. Like he wants to stay in contention or something, so they have him out there. But I think you can basically take Wemby out because I think they're going to start resting him because he got hurt at this time last year, and that kind of killed their season. So
yeah, and I mean I don't think they are necessarily pushing for the 1 seed with the Thunder. They're only a couple games back, but I mean he's only played about 29 minutes a game for the season,
right?
Which I think is kind of baked into, like you said, they want to kind of tone it down compared to last year. He was getting a little worn out toward the end of the year. So I think they've done a relatively good job of that. Obviously, probably the last week or maybe 2 weeks of the season, they'll continue to ramp him down slightly just to get him fresh for the playoffs. But, I don't think he'll catch the other two, like you said. I think he'll probably hover around 4 because I don't think he's going to catch Cade either.
Yeah.
Arguably, I don't think he's the most valuable player to his team as a whole either. Obviously he's their best player on the Spurs, but I mean, compared to Shea and Jokic and Cade, what they bring to their team, I feel like those guys have to be elevated above him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think that he catches these guys. I'm kind of with you. I do think that Jokic will, if he doesn't miss 2 games the rest of the season, I think he'll catch Shea. And that, it's just because if I was a voter, I'd be looking at that stretch where he was out and Shea was out, and how Denver slides so much, and Oklahoma City doesn't miss a beat. So, and they were missing J-Dub for some of those games, and Chet missed a few of those games, and so like this team is just, their team is so good that it's like, I don't know, it's hard to overlook that like Denver needs Jokic badly to be top 3 Where, I mean, they need Shea to win the championship, but like they don't need him to be the first seed in the West.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of always been my issue with the MVP debate is like even going back to years with Westbrook just dominating statistically and
Yeah,
Harden and those guys where it's like I mean yeah you want to reward the guy that is averaging a triple double or is just filling up the stat sheet left and right, but are we missing the value to the team of the player? Well, still honoring their stats. Like obviously, this guy's averaging a triple double, but this guy's 32, 7 and 6. Like
yeah,
it's it's not apples to apples, but kind of in a sense. Then you really need to factor in other things, like you said, value to. If this guy doesn't play, is this team even a playoff team?
yeah.
Probably not. If Cade doesn't play, if Jokic doesn't play, are the Nuggets or the Pistons the top one or two team in their conference? No, not even close.
Right, and that's where I kind of squint and can see a case for Cade. I don't think his numbers are where Jokic and Shea are, which is going to hurt him, but he doesn't miss games, and this team might end up
Yeah,
being the best team in the NBA. So it's like they can't look at that and say, "Oh, well, he missed this stretch of games and they were still good or they were whatever." Like they can't look at that, so they have to look at the fact that this guy is the best player on the best team. And
yeah,
so a lot of times that guy gets votes, and they kind of push those guys. So it's interesting to see. It's definitely going to be a close race, I think.
yeah. And I think that's why he's comfortably third. Like you said, his stats
Yeah,
aren't quite where they need to be to challenge those guys, but I mean, he's averaging 25, 6, and 10 on
yeah,
46%. Not the best percentages, 80 from the line. Uh, but I mean, overall, obviously, 25 and 10 and 6. It's a great
that's
line.
great. Yeah,
It's
it's
it's not
awesome.
gonna touch what Jokic is averaging, and even
No.
Shea's probably closer to 31 and 5 and 5 or
Yeah,
something like
uh,
that. But
Jokic is 28, 12, and 10, and
yeah,
Shea is 31, 4, and 6.
yeah,
So it's going to be hard to numbers wise catch those guys.
yeah, and that's why I almost wish they would do like most valuable player to the team, and then best player award or something like that. Like
Yeah,
somehow
I think
distinguish that.
yeah, it's hard because I think a lot of times the same guy would win both those awards.
Potentially,
So
yeah. But you could do,
I
I
think
don't know, best offensive or, this or
yeah,
that. I don't know. Because we
yeah,
do
maybe
defensive player of the year. Why don't we do offensive player of the year?
isn't that kind of what MVP is?
Well, that's the debate.
Yeah,
Is it most valuable or is it best offensive?
because I was sitting there thinking like, what if Wimby starts playing a lot? Let's say they're like, we need to ramp him up for the playoffs. So we need to get him playing 35, 40 minutes, whatever he's going to play in the playoffs, and he goes and starts averaging 5, 6 blocks a game and like do something crazy,
Yeah.
and then you're like, okay, well at the end of the season he's averaging 25, 14, and 6 blocks, and it's like, okay, are you going to look at that? And then they're like, nah, we'll just give him Defensive Player of the Year for the blocks. They don't really see that as like mattering for the MVP. I don't think.
Well, I think it's going to take a couple years probably to change the narrative of MVP, but that's kind of what I remember dealing with when it was Westbrook versus Harden, or when Jokic was going with Giannis. Like these back and forth debates where it's like, I mean, do you want to just honor the best player from a statistic standpoint, or do you want to honor the team that matters the most to their team, or the player that matters the most to their
Yeah,
team, who's also contributed statistically, across the board? So I'd like to see it change a little bit, just because I feel like they'll pick statistics over anything else, and they won't factor in narrative as much. But you know, obviously, for the most part, I think they've got the right person. But there have been a couple years where I'm like, I would have liked to see a little bit, at least a little bit more discussion of, hey, what does this player mean to their team, rather than what they've done, on the court, I guess.
no, I agree. I agree. So with that being said, who is your pick? Who are you picking?
I mean, I think I've got to go Jokic so far. I think Shea was
Yeah,
leading relatively comfortably, but I think, like you highlighted, without Jokic, I just don't think obviously the Nuggets aren't the same, but just his overall value to his team, I think. Not only that, but I mean, Shea's great. No reason why he doesn't deserve it, but I think compared to last year, we kind of knew Shea wasn't going to be able to take a step above what that was. And so to
Right.
me, you kind of have to stand out from what you were doing the year before a little bit to re-win the award. And much like Jokic kind of dealt with that fatigue or voter fatigue in that sense the last couple of years, like I think he's elevated his game this year even more so from an efficiency standpoint and setting up his teammates to where his scoring has dropped, to 28 and a half or whatever, but his rebounding and his assists and getting players in their spots has only increased and his efficiency's gone up. So I think that's got to be kind of spoken for there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in his career averaged a triple double. So it'll be interesting if he can do that, like fully, like statistically average a triple double. If
I thought he did last year, but
I don't know, I'd have to look at it. But I know he's been close, obviously, every year. But I'm gonna go with Jokic too. I like to sometimes change it, but I think numbers wise, the team needs him. They'll look at that. It'll all factor in, and they'll go with that. But moving right along, we'll go into the Rookie of the Year debate, which is pretty much a two-man race. I mean, the VJ's on the list, but it's not. He's not
probably
really
Flag and Queen, right?
Yeah, Flag and Queen. Yeah. No, so right now it's got Conca Nipple at minus 150, and then Cooper Flag at plus 120, and VJ, like I said, is on the list at plus 10,000. So,
yeah, jeez, 10,000.
You want to do if you got a lot of faith in VJ, bet $100 you win 10,000 or something like that, right?
Don't give Chauncey Billups those odds.
Yeah. But this is a debate. I still think it'll be Flag. I think over the course of this season, he's had bigger games, and he's really put the Mavs, like, as a player on his back and willed them. Because they were talking about this on a podcast I was listening to, and they said, like, oh, well, since the beginning of the year, like, since they said basically the AD trade, the Mavs have just really sucked. They just really sucked. And I was like, well, and they were like, well, because it's AD or whatever, and AD's a big, good player, and I get that. But also, during that time is when Cooper went down. Like, they stopped playing Cooper, and now they suck. And they were in the most clutch games in the NBA when he's there. Mm-hmm. So he is carrying this team to competing, where now they're not competing at all with him out. And I think that matters a lot.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, obviously, it's great to see what Khan's doing, and I think he's absolutely made it a race. There's no doubt it should be a debate. He's setting history. He's setting records with his shooting and three-pointers and all that. But I think we also, just because Cooper's been out for a couple weeks now, we're forgetting the history that he's made. I mean, night in and night out, it was just, Flag, he drops 40 and 10 and 5, and he's the first, in history, comparing him to LeBron and all these different things. And it's like, I mean, if you're doing that, I feel like that's just as valuable, if not more, than the most three-pointers made by a rookie. Like, that's great, wonderful, but I think overall body of work, Khan's obviously been a little bit more consistent in availability, but I think as a player, Cooper should comfortably win that award to me, as far as what that award's supposed to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Khan's setting history for rookies. That's great. Cooper Flag's setting NBA history. Like, he's the youngest player to score 40 in a game. He's the youngest player to... Yeah. And it's hard because he's one of the youngest players to ever be in the NBA. So...
Still,
if you do anything, you're really going to be... But it's hard. But, I mean, yeah, there's something to it. Like, he is the youngest player pretty much to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
Outside of LeBron, maybe. And there's something to that he can score 50 points in a game as a 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. He is carrying this sorry Mavs team who just don't have any reason to be in any of these games, yet they are the lead leader in clutch games because of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he's going to take it. I think he'll come back. I think he's going to play on Thursday, if not Friday.
I think it's going to be Friday. Sorry to disappoint you. He's going to play in Boston.
Maybe.
For his home base is Maine. Like, he's going to play in Boston.
That's true. Yeah, maybe so.
So you might want to put him on your IR for one more game.
Yeah, I'll put him on. Yeah.
We'll see. Pull up his stats real quick though. In the meantime, I've got Khan's pulled up. So Con's averaging 19.2, 5.5, and 3.5. And
All right,
then
Cooper.
shooting
Oh,
43 and a half.
Cooper's at 26 and 4.
Yeah, so Con's 19, 5.5, and 4. So Cooper's
Right.
got him there. And then shooting wise, I mean, 3 point percentage, obviously Con's going to win that at 43.5. Field goal percentage, 48.8. What's Cooper at on
Yeah,
those?
Cooper's at 48 for field goal percentage. He's at 80 for free throw percentage, which doesn't factor into this,
Yeah.
but
What about
30 from
block and
3.
steal?
Yeah, block and steal. It's Cooper's at 1 block, or let's see, what is this? 1 steal and .8 blocks.
Yeah, so Con's .2 blocks, .8 steals. So I feel like Cooper's got him kind of across the board, averages outside of 3-point shooting, but field goal
Yeah.
percentage is virtually the same overall. So their true shooting, Con's going to be a little higher, but I think as for volume, obviously Cooper is taking more shots and keeping about the same field goal percentage. So I think he's should win the award. He deserves it. Con will be a close second, but I think Cooper's got that one.
Yeah, and it's key to remember for rookie of the year. It doesn't matter how many games you miss.
Yeah, which is so interesting to me.
It's the only one.
Like why are they doing the NBA just does some stupid things.
It must have been like, I don't know. It wasn't the year Blake Griffin. I was trying to think of like must have been a rookie at some point who played like the first 2 months and just absolutely was setting the league on fire, and then tore his ACL or something, and they were like, well, we got to. Well, I guess back then it didn't matter. So
Yeah,
anyway,
but then
I don't know.
that's like, why did they introduce the 65 game limit for every other award then? If they're going to deal with similar situation, it just doesn't make sense. And
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. To your point too, like Jeremiah Fears came into the league, he wasn't 18 yet, I don't believe. So he could be setting history, but is he? No,
He's not.
Other than
He's not
having
yet.
play with the worst teammate of all time in Derek Queen. So that's history
right. I
right there.
agree. Who's coming up? I'm coming up on that. Anyway, so we both pick flag on this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. And so moving on, we can go to defensive player of the year, which is
What are those odds?
Wembanyama at -900, and Chet at +650, and then Gobert at +3500, and then you have like Scotty Barnes, Asur Thompson, and Derek White.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what Chet Holmgren's sitting at for games missed. I think he's been pretty healthy this year, honestly.
Yeah, they've
So-
really just limited his minutes more so than setting him games. I mean, he's definitely sat some, but I don't think he's really missed due to like injury, other than some rest.
Yeah.
So he's definitely. I mean, if you watch him, I feel like it's hard to not feel like he's the best defender in the league. Obviously, Wemby puts up the
Wemby?
stats, and well, I mean, Chet is who I'm talking about, but
Oh,
yeah, with
interesting.
Wemby too, they're kind of 1-2 to me of just. I mean, how do you get past Wemby on anything? But I think
No.
Chet's kind of the more prototypical defender that we've seen win the award over the years with Gobert and Mobley and those types of guys, where they're kind of protecting the paint and kind of orchestrating the defense, whereas Wemby is just all over the place because of his length, and I think he gets more stats that show up, but maybe he's not just because he's as freakish of an athlete as he is. It's maybe masks some of the talent or skill, I guess, in playing position.
Yeah, I just think that the Wemby's numbers on such little minutes, it's staggering. He's averaging 3 blocks a game, and like you said, playing like 25 minutes a game or something like. Oh, he's playing. They say he's averaging 29 minutes a game, but that factors in the fact that he's playing 35 to plus the first half of the season. So, I don't know. It's just the things that Wemby can do on the floor. He's a defense in his own. Like, you cannot if he's on the floor, you cannot go in the paint at all. He's there, and like he blocked a hook, like almost like a hook shot from Cade one game. That it was incredible.
Yeah.
So, I just think the way his stats may look similar. He's averaging 3 blocks. Chet's averaging 2. So like they're close, but
Hmm.
it's the impact I think that matters.
Yeah, I think the only question was he going to be healthy enough to qualify for the award for the while.
That's
That's kind of
true. Yeah.
why we were a little bit down on it at the time, but obviously he's definitely to me the best defender in the league. It's just trying to think of reasons why he wouldn't win, and that's probably the only one.
Yeah, that's the only one. If he misses another 4 games, which is very possible
Yeah,
given his history and how the Spurs organization is run, but they might say like, oh well, we know he's getting close. We know he probably wants it real bad. He's super competitive.
yeah,
They might say like, hey, I know we're trying to sit you. We'll sit you to 17 games where then you'll play the rest or something like that. But
yeah. Well, and if they keep rolling people like they did last night when they're
yeah,
up like 40 at the half, they had 91 and a couple
Whew,
minutes into the third. I'm like, geez, man, he only has to play like 18 minutes a game at that
that's
point,
incredible.
and
Yeah,
he'll still have 3 blocks and
yeah,
6 steals
right.
or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy what he's doing, and I enjoy watching it though. I feel like he's been a joy to watch this year, and especially, I mean, did you watch him play against the Knicks or see some of the highlights of that?
Yeah, I saw some highlights, but I didn't watch it. No.
Yeah, so he like or Towns pump fakes for three, and then like bulldozes into Wemby, and Wemby like sprawls out and whatever. And you hear what Towns said? He's like, "Man, he's 7'4", 260. He shouldn't be doing that. Like
Oh, right.
that doesn't happen." And then of course the announcers are like, "Well, he's actually only 230," and you kind of like charged right into him. Like that's gonna happen to anyone when you got him in the air a little bit.
I
I'm just
think
like,
I think
man,
Cat
Towns.
Cat forgets he's 7 foot 260, 70,
Yeah.
80, whatever he is. So like, he's not
Yeah.
a small guy.
Right. I'm like it's just a little bit of my disdain for the Knicks coming out, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's such a talented defender that you kind of have to throw the kitchen sink at him, and even then you're gonna have to, I've seen people like rainbow it just to get it over his arm to try and make the three, and it's just the way he disrupts the game is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. But so we both have Wimby on that, I think, and we can go on to most improved, who right now is Duran at minus 145. Let's
Hmm.
see, yeah. Oh, 150, excuse me. Jalen Johnson at plus 230, so they're close. And then you have Ryan Rollins, Denny Avdia, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Keontae George.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of
that
good talents there. That I think
yeah,
this should be a closer race than. I mean, Duran seems like a somewhat comfortable favorite, but I don't know if I'd go that route.
I mean, the impact that he's having, I think he's having a bias because he's on the best team in the NBA. He is playing really well. I mean, let's not skimp over the fact that he's solid. I mean, he's playing
Yeah,
great. But you have to also think that last year to this year, that's kind of what this award is for.
right.
Last year, I did not see his efficiency and the way he scores and stuff, where he's shooting mid-range shots and stuff like that. Like I didn't see that in his game last year. I didn't see it
Totally.
coming at all.
Yeah, I'm pulling up his stats here. I agree. I think he's definitely improved this year, by no question. I think last year some of his weakness was free throws, and like you said, efficiency in the paint. The mid range is a nice development, but let me see what he compares this year to last year. Let's see
Yeah. So
stats.
this year he's averaging 18, 10, I guess one block and or what's one assist, which whatever, and then point 0.8 blocks and point 0.9 steals.
Yeah, so his defensive numbers have gone down slightly. His scoring has gone up considerably. He's taken about 4 more shots a game. Rebounds about the same. Field goal percentage has dropped, probably because of taking more shots. And free throws have improved. So I mean, obviously he's definitely improved overall. I think I would go someone else though. That's probably what's holding me back. Is I think he's probably top three, but I don't know. I think I'd rather somebody like Keontae George.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it could be Jalen Johnson second on that list. I mean, he is having an awesome season. 22, 10, and 8
Yeah,
with a steal and half a block. I mean, he's having an incredible season. Now injuries, I don't know what his his injury count is. But
He's not super close. I think he's still got probably 10 games.
yeah, so I think he could. That's probably who I would pick is Jalen Johnson, just for the
Yeah.
step he took, the fact that the Hawks are comfortable enough with him being the number one guy that they can trade Trae Young the way they did. I mean, just absolutely getting nothing back. Um, I think he's solid.
Yeah,
me.
I do agree too. I think we saw so much flash of that last year though, to where like he came on really strongly for the pretty much the month, maybe 6 weeks before he had his shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And then I offloaded him to you. Thank you.
No
Um,
problem.
so I agree. He's definitely shown he's the number one guy now. That's a huge improvement on its own. I think we saw that going into this year. Whereas for me, Keontae, really, he's become the guy for Utah, I feel like, this year. Even more so than Markkanen has been. And Nurkic here and there. But I feel like his overall play, not that he didn't show flashes last year too, but I think just the way he commands the offense and his shooting has improved significantly. I mean, he's consistently been a guy that through our ballers and followers and Cop Shop Drop, I've been like, there's no way this is going to last. It's going to fall off. It's going to fall off.
Right.
And all he's done is consistently stay the same, which has been great. Like 40% from three. His field goals are always going to be in the low 40s, but he's increased his scoring. His free throws are great. Defensively, he's improved. So I don't know. To me, that's more of representative of maybe what I want to see in a most improved player. Somebody that was relatively, not a nobody, but just kind of a, back end starter at best. And now he's flourished into this guy that's leading his team. And so I think Jalen Johnson fits that a little bit more than maybe Jalen Duren does. I feel like Duren's benefited greatly from Cade having an improved year. It's not like Duren's been just this huge revelation on his own. I think Cade's been getting him exactly where he needs to go and helping him with shot selection. And, because of his dominance, Duren's able to feast on that, which, doesn't mean he's not improved his own game. But I feel like those other two, in Jalen and Keontae, are just like, we're taking this step on our own, and our team is benefiting from that, rather than Duren just kind of both and.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good point. I also would like to throw this guy's name in there because I think that he's on this list. Denny Avdia, he's having his season averages are 24 and a half, 7, 6, and then 0.6. I guess what is that? 0.6 blocks, 0.8 steals. Which he's not a defensive guy, but like the way he controls that Portland offense is incredible. But I think he's suffering from Portland's not a good basketball team. So, I mean, they're in the play-in stuff, but, like, they're just not that good. And Keontae George is doing the same thing, where he's suffering from they're not a good basketball team. So, Jalen Johnson's on a 500 team, which is okay. Like, it's just, like, it's better than these two guys, which I think is why he's placed above them. But, I'm with you, though. I think Duren's I think he is benefiting a lot from just Cade's development rather than he's added like some crazy revolutionary thing to his game where he's like shooting 40% from three now or something like that, because he's not. But like, if he did that, if he was doing that, then I'd be like, well, maybe we need to think about that. But like, I'm with you. I picked Jalen Johnson, so that's kind of
I do think they got the list completely right as far as who's on the list. I might rearrange the order a bit. I like Rollins a lot too. I think I do too. Really made a step forward this year from basically nobody last year. But those 6 guys are all very deserving of being on that list, and we'll see how the rest of the year finishes up because I think it'll be a pretty close finish.
I know they can't put 17 players on these lists, but I'm surprised KPJ's not on there. Kevin Porter Jr. He's played really well.
He has.
Now, he only
for sure.
missed a lot of the season, but maybe that's why he's not on there.
Probably. I mean, because when he did play previously, he has shown some of that before, maybe as well. Obviously, not consistently, but maybe 5 years ago.
Well, he was out of the league for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think that's good. And then last thing we can wrap up with is Coach of the Year. We'll do Coach of the Year.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a interesting one. I think it's pretty much a two. I don't know. I thought it was a two-man race, but then I looked at this list. Anyway, it's right now it's JB Bickerstaff minus 320 for Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Missoula for the Celtics plus 450. Then Mitch Johnson from the Spurs for plus 900, and then they have Charles Lee, Jordan Ott for the Suns. I didn't even know he was the coach there, and then Darko for the Raptors.
Yeah.
Which those three are just like plus 3,500, plus 4,500, plus 10,000. I mean, they're just not really in the race. But I'm surprised, honestly. I'm kind of surprised that Dagnall's not on this list. Just because
it's
how
probably
good
fatigue.
they are this year.
It's got to be fatigue, I'd say. But yeah, interesting names on there, honestly. Just off the top of my head, can you name the Washington Wizards coach?
No, I can't. Not at all. I won't even try.
I read it this morning and I was like, who? I don't even remember it. That's how forgettable it was. But yeah, same like obviously I knew Charles Lee, but yeah, you hear some of these names, you're like, who is that, and why? When have they been coaching? I don't know. How do you feel about that list?
I feel like it's a good list. I think the two guys, the top two, are clearly ahead, and they're probably rightfully the people that should win. One of those two. You know, the turnaround that JB Bickerstaff has done with the Pistons has been great. I mean, they're pushing to be the best team in the NBA when everybody thought the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to run away with it this year. And then I have always been a fan of Joe Mazzulla. I think what he's doing with that roster, I mean, I know he's got a superstar in Jaylen Brown, but like he's just got a bunch of just role players just playing their butts off and playing the perfect role for what they're doing, and it's working. They're great. I mean, they're a good team, and they're gonna push a lot of teams in the playoffs, and maybe when they get Jason Tatum back, we'll see. But I think I would pick him. I'd pick Joe.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any major qualms with. I don't know if I'd put Charlotte's coach on there.
I don't know. Yeah.
Now that they hit 500, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we got to put the coach of the year on there." I'm like, "Well, no, they finished like, 9 games under 500 last year or something like that. Maybe a little worse, but it's not like a crazy improvement. I don't know. That's a side note, but I guess more my question is, what's kind of your general coach of the year philosophy? Are you trying to reward more of like record? Are you rewarding a little bit more of how they, like, I guess more Missoula-esque, where they're kind of mixing and matching rotations and dealing with injuries, and maybe they're not the best team in the league, but they're outperforming where they're expected?
I think obviously there's a lot of factors that go into it, but for me, I like to look at coaches who, you don't really predict. Like, you look at their roster, and it's like, well, this roster shouldn't be as good as it is. Which is just like when that happens, which doesn't happen a lot. That's where you're like, oh well, I think Missoula is, playing guys like Jordan Walsh and Hauser and not that these guys aren't NBA level talents, but like they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And Peyton Pritchard, who's awesome, he's had an awesome season this year, and he's got Jaylen Brown in a system where he should be the second best player, but now he's in the MVP race. Like that kind of stuff is huge, and he's missing his best player. I mean, no doubt about it. Jason Tatum's their best player, and he's out all season long, and they're still pushing to win the East. I'd like to reward that, but I can't look past the fact that you didn't expect this from the Pistons. Like that's another thing too. Is like coming into the season, everybody thought, well, Pistons will be middle of the road. We'll see what Cade does, and we'll go from there. But he's come out and just put them on the map, and so I like to reward that as well.
Yeah, I generally agree with all you said. It's probably those two that I'm leaning between. I respect what Jordan Ott's done with the Suns. They weren't supposed to be very good this year. They've dealt with a lot of injuries here and there too. Booker, Allen, Jalen Green's been out most of the year too. So the fact that they're pushing for a 6th seed to not even be in the play-in is pretty impressive. But I think it's got to be between Detroit and Boston. I think Spurs probably a comfortable 3rd, but I think just with the overall talent in San Antonio and what Detroit and Boston have been able to do without the expectations being there, I think that's kind of how I like to reward it as well. So I think those two, I want to see how they finish before kind of picking who I think overall deserves it. But so far, I probably would have to lean a little bit Detroit. But both those two, like you said, those are, I think either have a great case for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think overall, I think that's a good list and good awards. I like. I think all those projections and like where people are standing. I think that's exactly what it'll be at the end of the year. I don't think they're gonna have like somebody come like roaring through the that came out of nowhere. I think it's pretty much set in stone that the top guys on these lists are gonna be probably the award winners. So
yeah, for the most
cool.
part, I agree. I think at least our exercise we did last week with the standings and moving people around, I didn't expect the Jazz to just absolutely, never win another game. So I'm a little frustrated about that.
Tanking.
But yeah. I was like, they'd have to lose like 20 games out of their 27 just for the Pelicans to probably, go above them. And well, the Pelicans are already above them. So yeah, I don't think anything like that.
Hey, listen, we're hoping for the Pelicans to keep winning. They have no reason. They have no reason to lose. They don't have a pick this year. They need to keep winning so that way some other teams can drop down.
Yeah, like Dallas in particular.
Like Dallas. But yeah, no, it's been a good show, and I think we'll look back on this list at the end of the season and see kind of where we were. Do we predict it right or not?
Yep, no, that sounds good.
All right, guys, have a good week. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know. Ask us, who do you think is going to win? Ask us any questions you want. If you disagree, we'd love to hear it. And like I said, have a great week.